Welcome to News in Focus on Sudarshan World. We are your nightly source of in-depth coverage of the day's most pressing events. This is Shivam Dutt Mehta and I'll be taking you through the latest news stories making waves around the globe. In tonight's big story, tensions flared outside the Georgian parliament as pro-EU demonstrators clashed with law enforcement officers in protest against what they perceive as a Russian-inspired legislation. The unrest led to numerous arrests and injuries, including that of an opposition party leader. The catalyst for the turmoil was the Georgian parliament's initial approval of the Foreign Agent Bill, despite warnings from the European Union cautioning that such a law could jeopardize Georgia's aspirations to join the EU. The legislation, which requires further parliamentary endorsement, has ignited widespread public dissent since its proposal by the ruling Georgian Dream Party. Critics argue that the bill unfairly targets non-governmental organizations and independent media outlets, compelling them to register as entities influenced by foreign powers if they receive over 20% of their funding from overseas. Moreover, these organizations would face stringent monitoring by Georgia's Justice Ministry and potential penalties, prompting concerns about stifling free speech and civil liberties. The recent clashes between protesters and police underscore the deep-seated anxieties surrounding the bill's implications for democratic freedoms and Georgia's European integration ambitions. Several demonstrators sustained injuries during the confrontations, with reports alleging excessive use of force by law enforcement. Amid escalating tensions, concerns mount that the proposed legislation could erode Georgia's progress towards EU membership and undermine its democratic credentials. European leaders have condemned the bill as incompatible with European values, urging Georgian authorities to reconsider their stance. Moving on to our next story, in a landmark ruling on Tuesday, former President Donald Trump was found in contempt of court and slapped with $9,000 fine for repeatedly flouting a gag order imposed on him regarding his New York hush money case. Judge Juan M. Merchan issued a stern warning that further violation could result in imprisonment for the presumptive Republican presidential nominee. Prosecutors had accused Trump of 10 violations, but Judge Merchan determined there were 9 instances where Trump breached the gag order. Trump, visibly perturbed, listened as the judge delivered the verdict, his demeanor reflective of the gravity of the situation. The ruling represents a significant setback for Trump, who had argued that his right to free speech allowed him to comment publicly on witnesses and jurors involved in the case. However, Judge Merchan's decision underscored that as a criminal defendant, Trump must adhere to trial procedures, regardless of his political aspirations. While acknowledging Trump's First Amendment rights, particularly in light of his presidential candidacy, Judge Merchan emphasized the importance of upholding court orders. He cautioned that any further defiance could result in imprisonment, marking a potential escalation in Trump's legal predicament. Trump's response to the ruling was defiant. "This gag order is totally unconstitutional," he declared, expressing frustration at being confined to a courtroom while campaigning for the presidency. Despite his protests, the court proceedings continued, featuring testimony from a Hollywood lawyer involved in negotiating the hush money deals central to the case. As Trump grapples with the repercussions of his actions, the specter of a former president facing jail time looms large, underscoring the unprecedented nature of the legal battle unfolding in New York. And now, let's shift our focus to Britain, which braces for pivotal local elections this week. The ruling Conservative Party faces the prospect of significant losses that could intensify pressure on Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. These elections represent the final major electoral test before a general election, which the Conservatives appear poised to lose to the Labour opposition. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has expressed his intention to hold the nationwide vote in the latter half of the year. However, the outcome of Thursday's elections could compel him to reconsider his timeline amidst anticipated setbacks. Political scientist Richard Carr has remarked that this election serves as a critical litmus test for the Sunak premiership, evaluating its assertion that the plan is effective and the extent to which voters still believe in that narrative. Historically, incumbent governments tend to suffer losses in local contests, and the Conservatives are projected to relinquish approximately half of the council seats they currently hold. Sunak's immediate political future hinges on the re-election prospects of 2 prominent Tory regional mayors in the West Midlands and Tees Valley regions, The victories of Conservative mayors Andy Street and Ben Hoshin would inject optimism among Tory MPs regarding Sunak's ability to reverse their party's fortunes ahead of the general election. However, speculation abounds in the UK Parliament that a poor showing could prompt dissatisfied Conservative lawmakers to seek Sunak's replacement before the nationwide poll. In recent years, factional infighting has plagued the Tories, resulting in a succession of Prime Ministers since the 2016 Brexit referendum. Reports have emerged of a group of restless Conservative MPs devising a policy blitz for a potential successor to Sunak in the event of significant losses this week, further underscoring the tumult within the party ranks. With that, we wrap up tonight's program. We thank you for tuning in and staying informed with us. Hope our coverage was insightful and informative. Do remember to follow us on social media for latest international and national updates. This is Shivam Dutt Mehta signing off for now. Stay informed, stay safe. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Hindustan.